If you want to be healthy and have people that have your best interests at hand, you have to, stand with the doctors who are actually trying to do that.
We are coming up on our last break. Stay with us through this break, and then when we come back, it'll be our last segment of the hour. We will close with you then. We're on the Real News, LibertyNewsRadio.com. Radio, again joined by Dr. Rebecca Carley, and in closing today, I'd just like to give you the opportunity, one, to tell everyone how to get started on a healthier life, maybe first things to do, and again, your website, drcarley.com, and we certainly do appreciate you being with us today. We'd like to have you back on from time to time, maybe come down to Hickory and do an interview with you, but we really do appreciate you coming on today. This is vital information that the public needs to know.
Well, it is my honor to be on, and I must say I've been doing 1 to 3 radio shows every day. People are waking up, and that is the good news. And what I want to tell you folks, don't be afraid, okay? Like I said, our Creator gave our bodies the ability to heal ourselves. The first thing you have to do is stop trusting your white coat. Try to extract yourself from having any dealings with these people, because they don't have your best interest at heart, because if they do, they will be attacked by the medical licensing board. As I said earlier, you need to eat as well as possible, a healthy organic food, as much raw as possible, drink good water, get a filter to get rid of your fluoride. If you have individual issues health-wise, you can contact me, because I teach people how to reverse their situations. Please don't email me. However, I'm getting over 500 emails a day since I was on Alex Jones' show on March 12th, so you need to call me. My number's on my website. But just realize that our government is not protecting us. 2 quick things I just wanted to mention was that a week after this Baxter release occurred, which, as we mentioned, has been basically blacked out of the mainstream media in this country, they had an emergency management summit in Colorado 1 week later. And you can read about this on legit.gov, L-E-G-I-T, gov.org, Citizens for Legitimate Government. And I'm going to just read a quote here quickly from PJ Cover, a mental health professional in the state of Colorado, and this is what she said. Be prepared to be quarantined for months at a time. When you're talking to people, voice your appreciation for those in quarantine. Talk about how they're hometown heroes and doing what they need to be doing to protect the community. Not to mention the fact that this insane stimulus package contained $954 million for more vaccines. What's going on, people? They are, basically charging us to kill us. And that's what we have to wake up and realize. And all of us have to help spread the word about this. What my suggestion is to just say no. I am not a violent person. If enough people just say no to this mandatory bird flu vaccine, when it comes out, there is nothing they can do. So that's what I would suggest people to do, to start getting educated, especially about colloidal silver. As I said, if you have this wonderful natural antibiotic, antiviral in your body, you will not have a big problem, even if your neighbors that get vaccinated start coughing and sneezing on you. So don't be afraid, get educated. And as I said, today on republicbroadcasting.org from 3 to 5 p.m., my show, What's Ailing America, we're going to be covering more about the Baxter situation and the weaponized rabies with a veterinarian that I work with. And this is scary stuff, folks, but we're paying for it, so it's time for us to just say no to that as well.
Do you think we're going to see a mandatory vaccination for all the citizens against bird flu?
Well, it apparently is so, Farron, because they've stockpiled 250 million doses.
Unreal. Well, that's some excellent information, and we do want to have you back on from time to time, update what's happening, and I certainly do commend the work that you're doing. And again, your website is drcarley.com.
drcarley.com. Please tell other people. My goal is to stop the biggest epidemic the world has ever known, vaccine-induced diseases.
And as I mentioned to you, we have the We Are Change North Carolina chapter. We meet the first Tuesday of the month. I would like to stay in contact with you and have you join us and just keep the truth movement alive.
Definitely. Well, because if you don't have your health, you have nothing. And you see, once people get healthy, they have the courage to open their eyes and see the other nefarious things that are happening. So I am very uplifted by the massive awakening that's happening in this country. And we have done nothing for so long. It's time for us to start looking for the truth. There are many places you can find it. And when you find the truth, share it with others.
All right, well, thank you very much for joining us today, and we will be in contact with you again. Dr. Carley, thank you so much.
And thank you. God bless you for your important work. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Again, drcarley.com, Rebecca Carley, someone we'd like to have on from time to time. Reminds me a lot of my mom. My mom does not take medicine. She is an advocate of old home remedies that have totally been forgotten, that your medical doctors don't even acknowledge that work. But it's really good to have her on. Really enjoyed that.
Well, one interesting thing I found out a while back was, thousands of years ago, the American Indians within North America, on average, lived to be in their 70s. I mean, this was with no medical care whatsoever. They were eating, obviously, natural foods and probably under a whole heck of a lot less stress than we are now, exposed to, obviously, less toxins, if any. But one of the myths now is the miracle of science and modern medicine makes us live forever. Well, that's just simply not true, folks.
Well, each week we have a poll on therealnewsradio.com, and we encourage everyone to go there and vote on it. We get our contestants from the broadcast each week, and different news segments done by myself or by Brian. And this week on Hypocrite of the Week, we had Department of Defense attack on our Second Amendment, the MIAC report and the traitors that supported it, the U.S. Congress and the AIG bonus scandal sent to us by a listener. Mark, thanks for that one. And all media that refused to report that Alex Jones broke the MIAC report. Do you know who the winner is, Brian? Do you have a guess?
Well, I know what I voted for.
Okay, and the winner is all media that refused to report that Alex Jones broke the MIAC report. Is that who you voted for?
Yeah.
That's who I voted for too. Okay, so you got a quote? Each week we try to have a quote of the week. Now, if you'd like to send some of this information in, quote of the week or hypocrite of the week, any of this, we'll post it on our website. So go ahead, Brian, give us quote of the week.
The final act of the Uruguay round, marking the conclusion of the most ambitious trade negotiation of our century, will give birth in Morocco to the World Trade Organization, the third pillar of the New World Order, along with the United Nations and the International Monetary Fund. This was part of a full-page advertisement by the government of Morocco in the New York Times, April 1994.
That's
third pillar of the New World Order.
Next week we will be joined again with Bob Chapman, international forecaster. Really enjoyed that interview. He's very enlightened on things to come, financial, economic matters. We'll be joined by him. This week in the news, something we've both commented on, we spoke about it quite a bit, but again it was in the news this week. The Wall Street Journal, China urges new international reserve currency. We just keep seeing it time and time again. We know Geithner, Secretary of the Treasury, is a big liar. So
he says right in Congress, oh, of course we don't want that. Then he goes over to CFR 2 days later and says, yes, we want that.
And we went down the list of the Obama administration, all of the appointees that are CFR, Trilateral Commission. I mean, it is just a wash. Maybe the most of any administration. And as anyone that's listening to this broadcast knows, I was absolutely no fan of Bush. If you're thinking that this is Republican, Democrat, I oppose both parties.
And again, I'll quote Mr. Geithner, what I had said earlier. The continued use of the dollar as a reserve currency, he added, quote, depends on how effective we are in the United States at getting our fiscal system back to the point where people judge it as sustainable over time. So obviously, that's not going to happen.
No, obviously that's not going to happen. And here, the People's Bank of China called Monday for the creation over time of an international reserve currency that isn't linked to any one nation as part of reform of the international financial system. This is being reported in the Wall Street Journal. So once again, as we've stated here for months, this financial collapse is being used to facilitate financial control into fewer and fewer hands, a gigantic step into globalism. This is by design. It is no accident. And you can read it in the headlines if you just look in the